Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your two Prince of Freaks here with another Fallout 4 build with you. We're going to be building Outpost Sanctuary, a small, quick, easy settlement to build for those of you who may not be into building huge, sprawling settlements, for those of you that just want to put together something quick and easy for your settlers, so that way all of the, everything's satisfied, their beds, their food, their thirst, their defense, everything, just the bare basic. There are going to be multiple stopping points throughout the settlement, but this is the most, what I'm showing you right now is the most decorated version. You can stop at any portion. I built a wall around the house here, this L-shaped structure for you, but you could always just use the house itself as a wall, and you don't necessarily have to put a door there. This is after I've went into Concord and got the settlers and went everyone there. This character I've made for you is going to be the new channel character. So there's going to be a smoking area, cooking area, everything you're going to need. So without further ado, let's cut right to the build. And here we are, the new character for the channel. He looks like the base version of Nate, but I did spruce him up a little bit to make him look a bit more like myself. In just a second, I'll be walking down the sanctuary, talking with Cogsworth and doing all the beginning intro things just to get it out of the way, and we'll cut straight to the scrapping, the first portion. We're going to be scrapping some things, and I'll show you what to look over and what to scrap. And after that, I'll go over a little bit of the mods. So without further ado. Alright, with Cogsworth out the way, we're going to be going down and beginning to scrap some things. We're going to be cleaning up some of the garbage around for the build. We're not going to be scrapping a lot of the ruined houses, simply because we don't want to have these big concrete slabs to show off the obvious fact that someone is currently living here. This build is for the people that survived, what was it now? The Quincy Massacre. So these people don't really want to live in a big old settlement, and they don't want to be too obvious because they, the PTSD of living in the big settlement that was sacked by the gunners. So this, I'm scrapping this ruined house because this is where we're going to be building our first L-shaped structure. This is where they're going to be sleeping. For scrapping, scrap everything that's on the floor, everything you don't need. We're going to be scrapping all the light posts for their copper and the steel. I skip a few over here, but I tend to go back and scrap them off camera. Everything on the floor, all the thin trees, you're not going to miss them, I promise. If you do like trees, I do leave a lot of the ruined trees around. But all the ones on the floor and all the super thin ones you're not going to miss very often. So we're going to cut to the next portion. Real quick, I wanted to cover this small house. It's at the end of this at the end of the street. There's this this small house next to one of the ruined houses on the right-hand side. This house is full of just garbage. It's going to be full of cloth. No one's going to be using this house. You're not going to be using this house for anything, so might as well scrap everything in it. We're going to be using a lot of the cloth and all the wood in here. When you're going out through the houses, remember to scrap all the rugs on the floor. You're going to need that cloth in order to build beds. So that's one of the things you're going to have to go through. Go through all the houses, scrap all the rugs, and maybe a few of the couches. Depend just what you're comfortable with. Alrighty then, with all the scrapping out of the way and most of the resources we're going to be needing, we're going to jump to the first structure. Later on, when I start running low on resources, I'll go back and scrap a few more cars and fallen trees. We're going to start off by lining up the shack floors on the right-hand side. This is so there's no gaps when we're building the wall on that side. This build is good for people who don't necessarily want to be Minutemen, but they do want to help out the people of Concord, or maybe you do want to be a Minuteman, or you're not necessarily into all the settlement building. You just want to build something quick and easy just to get it over with, so all the beds and things are satisfied. When you're lighting up these wood walls, make sure the cross beams that keep all the boards together are facing each other. It just gives off a bit more immersion. To finish off, we're going to use the more metal walls. There we go. Now, sometimes it doesn't necessarily want to snap there. I mean, maybe you can if it starts to get more difficult, but if you're having troubles, then all you need to do is finish rounding that off, take that portion off, and with nowhere left for that piece to go, it should snap pretty easily, theoretically. There we go. For the roof here in just a bit, we're going to be putting on the flat roofs. You could really put on any roof that you want, but personally I think these look easier to build, and just for these wastelanders to throw us together, so that way they have a semi-solid structure to sleep on. Okay, now we're going to be putting together the sanctuary house. This is the house that they're going to be hanging out in. This is the house where they're just, it's a house. This is where Preston Garvey sleeps, or you can sleep depending on what you want. So you don't really need to build anything new here. Everything you're going to need is already in here. You just need to pick it back up and line it up properly. There's a little radio listening station right here, a little dining table for them to sleep in, and then of course the couch sitting area. The only thing you really need to build that's new is the bed for this area. Everything else you just need to pick back up and line up. I leave a little gap between the chair and that wall because the settlers like to hammer on it and pretend that they're fixing this house. But we both know that is not true because they never make any goddamn progress. Here in the bathroom, just a couple things to scrap. Might as well leave it, a place for them to take their shits and when they need to. And here's the only thing you need to build. Just put a bed right there. Awesome. Put a few containers down for your personal legendary items, anything you want to store, and call it good. In a little bit, we're going to be cutting to the building of the walls. For a second, let's take a look at the mods we have. Once it loads. Here we go. So I have a handful of mods for building for this Let's Play, but really the only thing you're going to need for this specific build is the scrap everything. It's called Scrap That Settlement. It's going to scrap all the non-essential floor items, and it's just going to make your job less of a hassle. Place Anywhere is going to be the mod we're going to use most here. Alright, I had to cut this into a two-parter due to editing purposes and me not having the best editing equipment, but I will be editing the second half in just a bit, and I will be uploading these back to back, so don't worry. If you don't see it uploaded, just give it like 10 seconds. It'll be there, don't worry. But as of now, thank you for watching, and have a glorious day.